Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Father James. I'm back after a great staycation time, having some vacation time while I stayed at home, something that I'm sure many of you have experienced this year. And I was actually got a good laugh when the video came out last week with Tea with the Other Fella. And I know it was almost whiskey with Father Rob, but we'll save that one for a bit later on. So it's great to be back after being away, and here we are. Who would have guessed 2 weeks ago when I made my last coffee that we would be back in a kind of lockdown, hopefully a short-term lockdown. And it's so difficult, isn't it? It's so frustrating. We were just getting momentum, and now the carpet's been pulled out from under us again. And once again, there's such a climate of fear. I mean, I think there needs to be a healthy caution. But it's unfortunate when there's this kind of fear. This is necessary. Let's do what we have to do with a sense of love, knowing that our motive is really to be caring for one another, especially the weaker members of our society, and doing everything we can, in spite of the fact that we can't gather for the Eucharist anymore, and a lot of our normal functioning, especially getting ready for Christmas. I mean, it's so difficult, isn't it? And the biggest thing is the lack of certainty. Like, we just don't know, do we? We can't even really make concrete plans for Christmas because we don't know. Well, what is January and February going to be like? We don't know. And this is another reason why we're called to really walk as people of faith. I mentioned one of the challenges has been not being able to come to the Eucharist. Hopefully that will be short-term. It'll be a short-term challenge. But I would say that between now and the fall, when our government is predicting that there might be wide distribution of a vaccine, the chance that we may have to go through this again is probably fairly high. Now, the good news is that we hope this week to have the live stream technology and equipment fully installed. That's the word. You see, it had to come from some of the equipment. The cameras had to come from the US. There had to be programming that was done in Vancouver. It had to be shipped here. Hopefully it'll all be ready and done. And our goal is to actually live stream the Mass next Sunday, this coming Sunday. So I'm 90% sure we can do it. We might not be able to, but that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for it. We get some great people who are helping us out, and so that we can provide that for you. And then going forward, it would be something that we would do every single week, regardless of whether we're in lockdown or not. So that's how that is coming along. Another thing I want to mention, speaking about lockdown and locks, some of you may have heard that we're in the midst of changing the locks on all the buildings in our parish, at least the buildings that we use. We have 11 buildings in our parish, and we actively, in some way or other, have responsibility anyway for 9 of those 11 buildings. And I tweeted earlier this week a photograph of keys. This was not a joke. These were the keys that were in Father Rob's desk, and they're not even all the keys. There must have been about 60, 70 keys. And again, they're not all of them. There's a lot of keys. And the thing is, with 4 former parishes, how do we simplify that? Also, we don't really know who's got keys, who doesn't have keys, who's got which keys. We don't know. This was really occasioned by the decision to winterize the St. Paul's location and Immaculate Conception location, because when we went to the insurance company to find out what was required of us, one of the things was we had to have control over the buildings, who had access, who did not have access. So that alone was reason to go ahead, and there was no point changing the locks on just 2 locations. We thought, what a great opportunity to go ahead and standardize this so that we can have a clear sense of who's got keys and who's got which keys, and make sure that Father Rob no longer has to have a drawer with 100 keys in it, but just simply 1 key. So that's the goal. We're not trying to lock anyone out. Remember, the buildings that have been winterized, they will be reopened in May. Mark my word. They will be reopened in May. That's our plan. That's our plan. That is the goal of this winterization, is to minimize the cost. And while the buildings are not costing us, there's no reason why we can't open them up and use them appropriately during this COVID season. Speaking about long-term plans, we have the next gathering of the New Foundations series this coming Thursday. So this video should come out on the Wednesday. If you're watching it on Wednesday, or on Thursday morning, Thursday evening is the gathering. Now, normally we have an in-person gathering and an online gathering. Obviously, we couldn't do the in-person on Saturday because of COVID. We are going to do this. It was suggested, why don't we just wait and postpone until the new year? But you know, folks, we've got so much work to do, and we really need to be mobilizing. And so we need to have this meeting. It will be recorded. It will be available for you to watch. If you can't join us on Zoom, you will get a chance to view that material. So the meeting on this coming Thursday night is going to be assessing our material and financial resources, looking at what do we have here, and again, what are the concrete options going forward as we look at being the church in this part of Dartmouth 50 years from now. What are the material, what are the physical buildings, what are we going to need to be here 50 years from now? That's what we're going to look at on Thursday. So please join us if you can, and check out our website for the link. And other than that, let's again continue to be gracious with one another. This is a difficult season. It is the season of Advent. Let's continue to wait on the Lord and to recognize Him in His coming. God bless. Bye now.